listed. Problems experienced in Turkey. Problems in Turkey are cultural, such as language and eating habits. As a figure, language, food and climate differences, exclusion, hate speech, stigma, public and legal violence, and limited scholarship and housing, economic burdens and inflation, closure and social isolation can be listed as major problems. Axial coding. In the study, time and space were analyzed together in a relational sociological way. Africa represents the pre-migration period. Turkey represents the current period, and migration to a third country, like Europe or America, Canada, to a third country represents the future. Axial coding to synthesize the data were designed. Africa past, Turkey present, third country future. There are actually 3 columns in axial coding. However, since they are technically very small and unreadable, I will try to explain each axis to you separately. My request from you is to pay attention to what the common point in the 3 axes is. I have already marked them in yellow and red because the common concept, idea, or thought in the 3 axes will be called our core concept. Yes, this is axial coding with 3 axis coding. And as I told you, I will explain each axis step by step, starting from the past, that is Africa. Thus, I analyze the past as a time and space Africa together in a relational sociological way. Africa past features the poor, poverty, insufficient educational opportunities, war and terror, democracy and freedom are limited. They have different languages, they have different climates, they have traditional extended family structure, they have Islamic cultural heritage, they have colonial past. With the past memory, they do not want to go USA and France. They have different eating habits, they have different future expectations. Famine, hunger, and withdrawal are common. Semi-forced migration, self-isolation, and solidarity among themselves. And digitalization and elimination of time and space difference and exclusion, the main characteristic of the past future. Present features, I mean, in Turkey, population is crowded, unemployment and poverty are high, labeling is common, like Arab nanny, Arab sister, black daylight, etc. Turkey receives a lot of migration, health system is inadequate, education system is politically vested, one-man regime, we don't have, unfortunately, no democracy, no rights, justice, and law, legal violence, I mean, police pressure is high, corruption is high, gender inequality is high, young people want to leave the country, inequality is Turkish young people, I mean. Inequalities between social classes are high, money taken from European Union to an immigration forum going to Europe, unfortunately, this is the reality. And red and yellow marked sentences, digitalization, elimination of time and space difference, and exclusion. And for future characteristics, I'd like to talk about third country, according to finance, finding a job, why they go to the third countries, finding a job, rights, freedom, and democracy, social security, economic security, selective acceptance of educated and professional immigrants, there is discrimination among immigrants, high-risk immigration, high death rates, unqualified immigrants to Turkey to send back, acceptance agreement was made, the bottlenecks of social world economic economies are increasing. There are racist immigration policies. While accepting white women immigrants from Ukraine, they reject Syrians. The USA is increasing sanctions. They are sending illegal immigrants to prison islands. Borders are tightly protected. Human rights and focus are no longer decisive. And again, the last mark, digitalization. Therefore, the core concept as common feature of or factor emerging at the end of axial codings. In this study, there are two core concepts were identified or determined. First is utilizing digital opportunities, that is positive. It prevents migrants from preventing migration from turning into disaster. And the second core concept is exclusion. It can be explained as multi-layered stigma, that is negative. Basic metaphors. The research was concluded by writing a story with metaphors in accordance with grounded theory methodology. Basic metaphors suggested for images in the story: black pearls of the African continent, misunderstood guests of Turkey, innocent children who crawl but will stand up and walk. Conclusion: this research results are summarized using figures. There are three type of figures: uncertainties, process-based investigation, and alternatives. Unity of opposites or liminal students are common: human mobility, migration, and human-made disaster. Other liminal students, African students, tourists, young and mobile immigrants, and some more liminal students, volunteer migration and forced migration together. Position of African student migrants in the process, learning Turkish and adapting themselves to the new system, using digital technology, closure and internal solidarity. And there are different alternatives. First, staying in Turkey, doing master and PhD, starting a business. The second alternative, going to Europe or Canada. Third alternative, return to Africa, develop their countries. And suggestions, finally, the suggestions I will be listing now were delivered by a group of Turkish sociologists. By discussing them using the Delphi technique, taking an advantage of the ideas of Dutch independent researcher Lee Klerenbeck, I'm proud of her. Yes. Suggestions for relation integration. First, immigrant Africans will look a bit like natives, and later, natives, Turkish people will look a bit like immigrants, and relational integration will be occurred, non-hierarchical. And the operation of the process, exclusion, digitalization, relational integration. How can we prevent migration from turning into disaster? As a result of this research, the following suggestions are made to ensure relational integration so that human mobility does not turn into a disaster. First of all members of society should have equal social status. Immigrants should not be perceived as second-class citizens. Secondly, all individuals should have equal opportunities. Immigrants should not be accused of being thieves or stealing when using resources of Turkish society. Political participation should be equal. The rights of individuals with immigrant origins to engage in politics should not be questioned. Everyone who is part of society should have the right to participate in decision-making processes. And the fourth, all individuals should have the right to criticize the system. Immigrants should not be expected to be just grateful. They should also have the right to criticize like other citizens. And finally, legal citizenship is necessary for integration, but it is not sufficient. Obtaining citizenship does not automatically make immigrants full members of society. Social acceptance must be developed independently of legal rights. Human mobility, that is, preventing migration from turning into a disaster. Sorry. The process of translation from old concept to the new, therefore, Mikran and had consensus. Old concept, the immigrants, social hierarchies, and new concept is immigrants and relation integration, that is relational change process. Yes, to summarize as a picture, equal social status for everybody, everybody should have equal opportunities, everybody should take part in decision processes, everybody should take the rights of criticism. Decisions are not enough, there must also be social acceptance. In summary, if you go back to the initial disaster and the migration relationship, in summary, relation integration not only immigrants but also the entire population living in Turkey should be ensured. Unless this is achieved, inequalities will deepen in every field and will negatively affect the welfare, happiness, and development of society as a man-made disaster. Thank you for your kind patience. Goodbye.